Yes, you can see me clearly. Okay. I bought this today. It's a deck of cards from a souvenir store. Let me show it here. It's really meant for tourists, but I thought, well, the package is nice, why not? So let me open it for a while, and ta-da! The first card to come out is the Joker. And there are more Jokers. There are two of them. Little one. This is not the magic trick I'm about to do, just something I wanted to feel about the card game. You have these numbers. The 4s, the 9s, the 8s. And of course you have different symbols attached to them. And you have the queens, you have the jacks, you have the kings. A lot of people play cards, whether it's at a poker game or just a different type of game with friends. And they never ask themselves, why all this symbolism? Well, to keep it short, the card game is really a representation of how human societies tend to operate. So let's get these two out. The king, Rex in Latin, is often at the head of the community, or today you can say it's the president or those people at the top of the business world. They are the kings. You have the jacks. Those are the noble ones. You have the queens. Those are noble women, often associated with the king. You got the tens. And that's how it goes down the line. You got the aces. Now this was one. Let's say that this over here is one society. Then you have another society, the elites. Those associated with the elites, often through institutions. The jacks, the high middle class, people that are needed to sustain the pyramid structure. You have the tens going all the way down, and you have the aces. And let's say that the aces are the farmers. It's another society. That's how you go on and on. Here's another one. And here is, let me see if I'm doing this correctly. Here's another one. In total you have 4 societies. They all are in a geographical region. They all need to be sustained. So, how is this happening? Hold on, I need to put this over here. Okay. I want to interrupt the video. Okay. Can you still see me? I'm not sure. Yes, you can still see me. Okay. So here you have 4 societies, or you can say 4 nations or ethnicities within a territory, a country. Now they all have to cooperate together in order to make things work. There are those that manage the rivers, the fishing on the rivers, there are those managing the agriculture, there are those managing the mining industry. So you need to have leadership in all those regions, and they all need to be harmonized together. Well, in human communities, it often happens that there's conflict. So again, each of these decks, one deck divided in 4, each one is either a country, or let's keep it to one country only. You have one country and 4 different ethnicities over there. And let's say that this community over here is the dominant one, they are the majority. So that the majority of the labor force, the majority of the peasants are from this group. Now within this group, this rivalry. Yeah, let's say the aces are the farmers, and at the top you have the elites, often the kings, royal houses, or the people at the top. Now, if it was just these two, it would have been very easy. This is the boss, this is the servant. In practice, however, this layer over here needs support in order for it to operate. And between the support, let's say that the support together with the kings, they form the elite. And you have the peasants that are farming. Between them you have a lot of people who don't own land, neither are they part of these social cliques, so they are the common population that are striving to belong to this group, but they also don't want to anger this group over here, so that's why you have some are at 10, like a CEO, and the 2s are, for example, someone that works at a supermarket. However you want to divide it. That's one community. Okay, so let me put them back in order. Let's say there's friction now within this community. And I'm going to represent the friction by just moving the cards like this. So there's disorder. This doesn't represent the thing I really wanted. I mean, a little bit better. Now, I'm taking my time to record this video, so I'm not going to hurry anything. Instead, I hope you can view this well. Okay. So this is community now. And it fell to the ground, but I don't really care. As you can see, all the layers and divisions are at rivalry with one another. They are at each other's throats. They are crossing each other's boundaries. Now, this is something that will lead to violence in any community. First, you have violence amongst the people of what they could call the lower middle class. Those are not, I believe they're called serfs in some instances. Those are the people, as I mentioned before, who don't own land, who are not farmers. They live in towns often, but they're not part of the decision makers. Often you have conflicts between them. Then on the lower class you also have conflicts. So conflicts tend to escalate. So that's not a very controversial thing to understand. What is controversial ever is that once conflict escalates and there's a lot of negative energy, the negative energy has the tendency, it always grows bigger and bigger. And by growing bigger and bigger, it becomes worse and worse. So community becomes more messed up. Let's say this community A, let's say this ethnicity B, A, and this ethnicity B. This was the dominant one, this was the majority in the country, this is the second largest group. So you have two that are messed up. Now let's do another thing, let's mash them together. So now, they are at each other's throats now. So not only do you have two groups, two ethnicities, now they're also mixed up, so you don't know who is who. Just going on. So that's not being enough. Now you have minorities in the community who also want to have their social validation in their sub-society. And they're ordered right now, but the other groups, because of their presence, they are sucking them into the conflict. So now they are also at each other's throats. Then there is this last community that thinks that they are the chosen ones, or they are elect, or whatever nonsense they hold on to. Well, not really nonsense, they may have benefits. It's just a small group, but they're considered occult and dangerous, so now, without them wanting it, they're also smashed into it. So now, everyone is involved in it. A lot of people can't stand one another, but they do have to live together. Or it works out in families. Well, let me just sit like this. It works out in families, in marriages, and the violence is now acting out. It is now manifesting criminality, in child molestation, all of that. So things are really, things are really escalating here and there. What happens then? When you look at this, even though these are 4 groups, of course you have the one that is the majority, you have the second largest one, and you have 2 minorities, but they all have a structure. Either you are a king, either you are a queen, or you are a jack, or you are a peasant. So, but if you're not any of those, then you are into the game of constantly validating your relevance to society. If you are a 7, you might be a banker. If you are a 3, you might be a manager at a warehouse. So, who's relevant, who matters? That's the game that they play in society. And even though people are at each other's throats, you can still identify them and categorize them. But then, when the tensions are high and things keep getting worse and worse, the scapegoats arrive. In this case, we're going to use 2 goats. One is a colored one, a happy one. This one is a sad one, has no colors, it's boring. Okay, let's do this. So, everything's heading at, everyone is striving for social validation. The goat appears. And the goat is not into all that going to and fro, doesn't want to participate in the violence, but they're upset with the situation and you just want to seek relief. Now, what's going to happen now? All these other cards are identical. You can have a red jack or a black jack, and the symbols are different, but they're still jacks. Or you have a peasant, can be a black peasant or a white peasant. No, not white, I mean a red peasant, a hard peasant, or or shuffle peasant. No, it's not a peasant. I mean, it's not an ace, but okay. They're all known. When an unknown enters in, what's going to happen? All the contention as it's built up turns against this unknown one. So now, the violence that used to go here and there, they used to be disorganized, tend to center around the sad one. So what happens now, the sadness and the insecurity, let me say the anxiety, the collective anxiety is now projected onto this one over here. And what happens now is that, I'm going to lay this card down to illustrate it. This goat now receives all the violence, all the beating of the community. And I'm not someone who can do card tricks, so I can't do it right now. But what happens is when in the society, people hammer upon this sad goat, everyone there begins to feel relieved because at least they're not colorless and stupid looking and rejected like this one. So what happens now is that the community, the society tends to be restored. How is it restored, you may ask? Well, at the expense of that sad goat over there. He or she is the pathetic one, or they belong to the pathetic group. While the others belong to the right group. Well, not really right group in the sense that they are not accountable to the contentious in the community, but at least they're not this sad one. Everyone hates that sad one. Nobody wants to be around them. They are losers. They were probably abused as children, or not even relatives want them. They need a lot of psychological help, or maybe they speak a different language. It doesn't really have to be a real reason for it. As long as it can't be distinguished from the rest, that's what's needed. Okay. This is a slow video, I know it, but again, I'm not a card magician, so I have to do things slowly, okay? I hope you don't mind. Oh, all right. This one goes over here also. But I still need... Okay. So again now, the 4 groups are separated, and each of those groups, they are now weirdly enough, they are in order. Here, the order is restored. The waste energies of the community are relieved. People from this community, each one knows their place, and each one values their place. So now we go to another community. All right, let me do this quickly. Again, farmers, the farming class, the elite class, and the supporters, and the ones that are thriving in the community. So they're all now being ordered by going against this one. At the same time, you have those that used to be this class, that suddenly they receive colors. And before I continue with that one, I want to put all these cards in order while I'm speaking out or teaching what I'm trying to say here. So when the community, when the society is restored, some of those people that belong to the scapegoat group become promoted to become someone in that society. So what happens now is that the beating of the scapegoat group, it's a crime. It's horrible. It's violence. But people don't want to face that. They want to be relieved. And in order for them to acknowledge their responsibility to what happened, it will destroy their relief. The whole relief of violence would be gone. So the leaders of the community, the elites, say the kings, they select a few people that either pretend that they belong to this group, or they pick some people who are sellouts from this group, and they color them and promote them to become this. They become the stars, they become the celebrities, or they become the successful politicians sometimes. Now, why would they do that? Well, for a very simple reason. Hold on. If you want, I'm not sure if there are people who explained it this way online, who do it quicker. Well, they are card artists, I'm not. So, okay. Okay, now, finally, society is segregated and in order. These people hang out with these people, and they don't bother those other people. So, side by side, segregated, as you can see here, they all operate orderly at the expense of beating this one over here, as you can see. Now this one comes to cover what has happened. Okay, I'm coming with the camera over here, so yeah, you can see here. So society is ordered. Each group has their own conflicts, and the conflicts are contained within each group. All at the expense of this class over here. And now the blame is covered by the success stories. And people become envious of this guy over here. A lot of people from these groups except the elites, of course, the true elites, those at the top, because they know what's. They now want, and not they, I mean the rest of the people who are not part of the top elites, they want to become like this Joker. Yes. So the kings have orchestrated this, and people, the rest of the community, wants to become like them. But most people don't realize that this guy over here is fake, and that he's only here to distract of this that's going on. People don't even talk about this anymore because this is in the picture, in the media, in the movies. This is what was being talked about, either through scandals, either through good deeds being done, but especially in success stories. And those success stories, I hope I articulate well, not all of them are fake. Some of them may even be real, but the intent why those success stories are promoted throughout society is to keep this structure of violence intact so that people will have relief, and so that the self-validation of the members of the community is intact. People want to avoid violence, they want to avoid discomfort, they want to avoid becoming a target, and these violence structures are providing that relief, but the waste energy of that relief seeking is going on the goats of the society, and is covered by the other goats, who are the colorful goats. So I hope this video, which has been over 22 minutes, though to me having to arrange this quickly, I hope this video has opened your eyes a bit to how the world operates in general. Now you can play cards, of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but now you understand the symbolism behind it. Well, that being said, be at peace.